It's always wise to remember what lays in nature should stay in nature. Now, this is a story from a man named Jackson. Jackson said that him and his girlfriend took a trip to the Ozark Mountains and they had found this nice little romantic cabin and were going to stay for 3 days. So they get there and it's beautiful, it's overlooking the mountains, and it was just everything that they needed at the time. Well, Jackson said that he, always was in the back of his mind thinking that things could go wrong. So, despite his girlfriend telling him not to, he brought with him his firearm. Now, they get in the cabin, and the first night they're having just, this amazing time. The next day, there are some trails around this area that they decide to hike. Well, Jackson and his girlfriend, they go out deep in this trail, and as Jackson's walking, he notices like something off on this hill, and it's kind of like shining a little bit in the sunlight. So he goes over and he discovers this arrowhead. And he's like, whoa, this is really cool. Like, I've never found an arrowhead in the woods. I'm gonna, take this back with me. So he puts it in his pocket and, they continue on their hike. He said later that night, they get back to their cabin. And he said the first thing that was odd to him is his girlfriend, like, he didn't really like say anything to her about finding this arrowhead or that he had even brought it back with him. But she kept saying, I feel like something is wrong. Like we did something wrong on that hike. Like, I just don't know why, but I feel bad. And in his mind, he was kind of thinking about that. Like, I did take that arrowhead. Should I have brought it back with me? But he kind of let that go, and she kind of forgot about that feeling. So later that night, after they have this nice fire and everything, they go to bed. And at about 12:30 at night, he hears this sound like a door opening. And immediately he knew that's the back door. Someone is like breaking into the cabin. So he gets up and he grabs his firearm. And he slowly makes his way down these stairs to the first floor of the cabin. He said he looks around, doors are locked, the windows are locked, there's no one in there. So he goes back up to bed, and his girlfriend's like, what was it? And he said, I don't know, it must have just been the wind or something. So they're kind of laying in the bed talking about it, and all of a sudden he hears like boom, 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 like the sound, like something is on top of the roof. And his girlfriend's like, there's something up there, like, and it sounds large. And he said whatever it was kind of shaking the house as it walked on top of the roof. And they're just sitting in their bed kind of like, what is that? What is that? And he's debating whether or not he should go like outside and check it out. And his girlfriend's like, no, please don't go. Like, I'm scared. Just stay here with me. So he grabs his firearm and they're like sitting in the bed. And he said all of a sudden downstairs, he hears like a door open again. And he hears the sound of like nails scratching on the side of the wall. And he said he could hear what sounded almost like nails, like a dog's nails, hitting the wooden floor. And so he grabs his firearm, heads downstairs, and he said all of a sudden out of the corner of his eye, he sees like a shadow dart past him into the kitchen. And whatever it was, it went behind these cabinets. So very slowly, he makes his way over to the cabinets. And he said this very large dog just jumps out from behind the cabinets and starts growling at him. And he fires 2 shots at this thing, doesn't affect it. And he said this thing kind of just dematerialized and then rematerialized in the living room now on the other side of him. And he said this thing was like growling at him, and it jumped over to another side, about 6 feet, and it started climbing up the walls. And he said this thing turned its head all the way around and was staring at him. And he's firing shots at this thing, and it just keeps materializing and then rematerializing in another place. He said for probably about 30 minutes, he, was battling this thing. And he said all of a sudden, it just disappeared. It dematerialized and it was gone. And he said he didn't know why, but he had a feeling that it was something to do with the fact that he took the arrowhead out of the woods. And so the next day, him and his girlfriend returned it to the woods. And he said he would never take anything out of the woods again.